Now, what I'm driving at this point, where we're going with this, is most people, salespeople in particular, as well as owners of businesses, entrepreneurial people, don't really comprehend what happens when, to try to get a sale, they cut the price. I've even had, in fact, I remember a client I had in Santa Rosa, California, that sent a bunch of his salespeople to one of the public seminars that I was doing, and he said that one of his, and he described them as Neanderthals, returned from the seminar and said, you know, I'm really glad I went to that seminar. I didn't realize until I went there that when you cut the price, you get less money for what you're selling. Well, you know, that's naivete. The guy wasn't a Neanderthal, but a lot of people really don't comprehend what happens when you cut price. Let me give you kind of a mental test here, because this will be the example that I'll use, and we can, you know, I'll show you how to use any price change or what have you. But let's say you have a product. Let's say these are the financial numbers in your business. Let's say that we decide we got to sell more. That's okay. We can cut price. We'll make it up in volume. Let's say you cut your price 10%. Well, how much more volume do you have to sell to make up for your price cut of 10%? Now, like I said, that's going to be the example I'm going to use with you. And what I want to do is to show you how to calculate that. Because until you know what happens if you cut your price 10% or 2% or 5% or pick any percent you want, until you know what the implication of that is on the profitability of your business, you probably are ill-advised to start playing with price at all. Now, remember, of course, we subtract our fixed and our variable expenses from our gross margin to get our profit. Well, in this case, we actually will have lost $100,000. So that's not going to be profit, that's going to be loss. Now, let's face something. You didn't need for me to show you this for you to figure out you lost $100,000. If you were doing $1 million in sales and you were breaking even, you cut your price by 10%, you sell the same amount, and nothing else changed, you're going to lose $100,000. You don't need to go through this drill and ceremony. I know that. That's not what I'm going through this drill and ceremony for you for. What I'm going through it for is to point out to you what happens to your margins, so that then we can calculate what will happen to our new break-even volumes. Our variable expense percent now is 0.167% of our sales price. And if we subtract the variable expense percent from our gross margin, that gives us our potential profit. Well, let's look at it. 7 from 8 is 1, 6 from 7 is 1, 1 from 2 is 1. Our potential profit now on each one we sell is 11.1 cents. Now remember, we started where we were breaking even. Our potential profit on each one we sold was 20 cents. By having cut our price 10%, our potential profit on each one we have sold or will sell falls from 20 cents to 11.1 cents. Notice that by cutting your price 10%, you have cut your potential profit nearly in half on each one you sell. Now, a loose mental calculation tell you this: if your potential profit is roughly half of what you were otherwise making when your price was $1 each instead of 90 cents each, you're probably going to have to sell about twice as many to come back to where you were, back to your break-even point. And your brain will tell you that. But let's use the formula. I'll go back to our original break-even formula. And let's look at what we said. We said that by having cut our price 10%, our gross margin is now 0.278. It was 0.35, it is now 0.278. Our variable expense percent that was 0.15, here it is is now 0.167. So our variable expense percent as a percentage of our selling price has gone up to 0.167. Our gross margin as a percentage of our selling price has gone down. And remember, the spread that we get by subtracting our variable expense from our gross margin gives us our profit potential. Okay, we know that that profit potential is 11.1 cents. You divide 11.1 cents into $200,000 and you will find that your new break-even volume is going to be $1,801,801.80. Now, most people find that astounding. I've had people say, well, that can't be. I remember when I said it can't be. I was sitting in the Cincinnati airport having this old guy telling me about, hey, Sonny, let me show you something about why your boss may not be a flaming idiot even though you think he is. These numbers are correct. And what you're going to find is most people have no real understanding of what seems like a pretty minor price cut does to the break-even volumes of a business and what it triggers in terms of how much additional product has to be sold to, quote, make it up in volume.